Good morning and welcome to our daily reflection. One of the things I like about the Old Testament are some of the characters and their stories. Some are quite believable, but considering how many thousands of years have passed, many of their failings are still with us today. David was an adulterer and a murderer to get what he wanted. Abraham, despite the fact that he was Exhibit A in the man of faith, but as a husband he left a lot to be desired, as twice he put at risk the life of his wife Sarah in order to save his own. And where do you start with Jacob? He was a sort of man who was always trying to take someone else's place, who might be considered today something of a con artist. The writers of the book of Genesis could easily have portrayed them as great men, as saints, men above all men, but instead they are portrayed as, just like us, people with failings. There were others too, such as Omri. Although he ruled Israel for a short time, his time as a ruler is summed up in this verse from 1 Kings. But Omri did what was evil in the sight of God, even more than any of the kings before him. Yet in the Louvre in Paris, there is an ancient Assyrian stone tablet found in what is now Jordan, written around his time, which contains an inscription saying that he was an accomplished political leader. Yet the Bible pays him virtually no attention, where his only significant mention is a statement, he did what was evil in the sight of God. Political success in the eyes of biblical writers counted for very little by the time the book of Kings was written, if an individual had turned away from God. Jordan today, all those years ago, was Moab, which is where one of today's set readings was set. The reading is from the book of Numbers, chapter 22. The people of Israel travelled to the plains of Moab and camped east of the river Jordan, across from Jericho. Balak, the Moabite king, had seen everything the Israelites had done to the Amorites. And when the people of Moab saw how many Israelites they were terrified. The king of Moab said to the elders of Midian, "This mob will devour everything in sight, like an ox devours grass in the field." So Balak sent messengers to call Balaam, son of Beor, who was living in his native land near the Euphrates River. His message said, "Look, a vast horde of people has arrived from Egypt. They cover the face of the earth and are threatening me. Please come and curse these people for me, because they are too powerful for me. Then perhaps I will be able to conquer them and drive them from the land. I know that blessings fall on any people you bless, and curses fall on the people you curse." Balak's messengers set out with money to pay Balaam to place a curse upon Israel. They went to Balaam, delivered Balak's message, but Balaam said to them, "Stay here overnight. In the morning I will tell you whatever the Lord directs me to say." So the officials of Moab stayed there with Balaam. That night God came to Balaam and asked him, "Who are those men visiting you?" Balaam said to God, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, has sent me this message. Look, a vast horde of people has arrived from Egypt, and they cover the face of the earth. Come and curse these people for me, then perhaps I will be able to stand up to them and drive them from the land." But God told Balaam, "Do not go with them. You are not to curse those people, for they have been blessed." The next morning Balaam got up and told Balak's officials, "Go on home, the Lord has told me not to go with you." So the Moabite officials returned to King Balak and reported, "Balaam has refused to come with us." Then Balak tried again. This time he sent a larger number of even more distinguished officials than those he sent the first time. They went to Balaam and delivered his message to them. "Please don't let anything stop you from coming to help me. I will pay you very well. Just come and curse these people for me." But Balaam responded to Balak's messengers, "Even if Balak were to give me his palace filled with silver and gold, I would be powerless to do anything against the will of the Lord my God. But stay here one more night, and I will see if the Lord has anything else to say to me." That night God came to Balaam and told him, "Since those men have come for you, get up and go with them, but do only what I tell you to do." Balak, the king of Moab, had seen what happened to the other nations that stood against the Israelites. He obviously felt scared and threatened, so he hired the well-known prophet Balaam, wanting him to issue a curse against Israel so that the Moabites could defeat them and get them out of their backyard. Balaam initially followed the will of God in refusing to curse the people of Israel, but the second time, when offered almost a palace full of silver and gold, even though he knew it was wrong, he couldn't refuse. Maybe the price hadn't been high enough the first time. Obviously, like many, Balaam decided he loved money more than God. There was a tragic end to the enigmatic Balaam, who forever became associated with selling his soul for financial gain. He was someone whose dreams never came true. He was someone who chased rainbows. Now, I did say that most of the Old Testament characters were believable. Well, the greed of Balaam make him believable. The story of his talking donkey is for another day. Now think about the phrase from the Sermon on the Mount. From where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. If you were asked the most important things in your life, what would they be? And as a thought to finish, faith is believing what you do not see. The reward of faith is to see what you believe. So whatever you do today and the rest of this week, be careful. If you can, keep smiling. Bye for now.